Begin with the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court hearings on the legality of the Building Bridges Initiative consultation review process has come to an end following submissions from the Muslims for Human Rights, Justice Juma, Isaac Ogolla and Kituo cha Sheria. Our Olive Barrows has been following the proceedings, what arguments have been submitted and when do we expect the judgment to be rendered. All this, Olive, maybe can you tell us more about that?
Yes, I'm sure everyone is wondering when the judgment will be given. The Supreme Court has indicated that the judgment will be delivered on notice and not on the 14th of February, as was erroneously indicated in one of our news tags at 9 p.m. last night. So that judgment will be delivered on notice. And first up this morning was Muhuri, Muslims for Human Rights, and they were represented by one Carol Kituku, and she took on the question of IEBC. Was it quorate at the time they verified signatures? Was it quorate at the time they submitted the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill of 2020 to the county assemblies? The other issue they raised was the question of how the signatures were verified. Was there adequate public participation? And does the lack of a legal framework nullify the exercise? We also heard from a gentleman who reminded me a little bit of PLO Lumumba. In fact, he quoted him, and that is Evans Ogada, who together with Elisha Ongoya represented the 11th and the 12th respondents, and they represent Justice Juma and Isaac Ogolla, and they're the only ones who addressed the question of the delimitation of boundaries, the attempt to add 70 constituencies by way of the second schedule of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020. Finally, John Haminwa made an impassioned presentation for Kituo cha Sheria. In fact, he said he was on the verge of tears as he made his arguments, and he pleaded with the court not to allow the 2010 Constitution to be Frankenstein, turned into a monster by way of amendment after amendment, as was the case with the Independence Constitution. Let's listen in to some of those arguments.
That the second schedule was what the High Court judges eventually described as an endeavor to amend the Constitution and fundamentally alter it through stealth, because it's a latecomer in the whole process after the hitherto processes have all been exhausted without anyone telling us. So who was this telling us that Siaya County required this number of constituencies? Who was that among the participating public?
Do not be afraid. And Justice Patrick Omwenga Kiage, Lord Justice of the Supreme Court, of the Court of Appeal, says that the judge under the Constitution 2010 is a lion or a lioness. You are expected to roar the constitutional truth. You are expected to say it like it is.
We have now current politicians, and there's very little really to admire them for. Recently, I said in Court of Appeal that most of them, you get the impression that they are job seekers, they are office seekers. And they come up with things like amendment of the Constitution because they want to continue to be in power.
All right, Zainab, I will have the responses made by the Attorney General as well as the IEBC in my 7 and my 9 p.m. news report, so do tune in for that.
All right. Thank you, Olive, for that.